Hey, welcome back to How to Barbecue Right. I'm Malcolm Reed. Today we're getting ready to do a Super Bowl recipe for you. So we've got the New England Patriots versus the Atlanta Falcons this week. I thought it would be a good time to do a Boston butt. So what is a Boston butt? It's simply just a pork butt, another name for it. It gets its name up in the New England area. Back when they used to pack pork shoulders and hams, they would pack them in these big wooden casks or barrels, and they called them butts. So the cut simply became to be known as a Boston butt. Down here in the South, we see pork butts. You can see it called shoulders, but what it is, it's actually the upper portion of a pig's front shoulder. The lower portion would be the picnic roast, the actual like arm bone. The upper portion would be the Boston butt or the pork butt. So I've got a 10-pound Boston butt here that we're gonna cook. It's got some great marbling in it. We're gonna get it seasoned up. We're gonna get it out on a drum smoker today. We're gonna get it cooking, smoked up, get some good bark on it. It's gonna be delicious. You can do a lot of things with this when it gets done. You can make sandwiches, sliders. We're gonna use it for some nachos at our house Sunday, so let's get to cooking. So the first thing we're gonna do is get a binder on the outside of this Boston butt. And today I'm just using plain yellow mustard. You don't have to go real heavy, just a light coat, spread it on all sides of the butt. The dry rub I'm using today is my Killer Hogs Hot Rub. I picked it because it has a nice little spicy bite to it. It balances out with the sweet and the savoriness, but you're gonna get a little bit spicier bark, and that's what I want on this Boston butt. You wanna make sure you get the rub even all over the butt, turn it on its sides, get the edges, flip it over and get both sides, just a good even coat of rub. Now that we got the butt seasoned, just let it hang out inside on the counter and let's get that smoker fired up. I'm gonna be cooking on my Gateway drum today using just Royal Oak briquette charcoal. You want about 3/4 of a basket of charcoal, and to start the fire I'm using a couple just paraffin wax starter cubes. It's real simple, just set the charcoal in the drum and light the cubes. You want to leave the lid off for about 20 minutes to give those coals time to catch up. When they get a good base of fire going, go ahead and put your lid on and make sure you open all your vents wide open. It's going to take it a little while to come up to temp, maybe 15-20 minutes. As it approaches 275, you want to go ahead and check those vents back to about 1/4 inch on the intake, and I leave the top wide open the whole cook. This is going to lock that cooker right in at 275 degrees. Just before we put the butt on the smoker, I want to get some wood going. This is going to give us our smoke. I'm using a good chunk of cherry, a chunk of hickory, and I like to add just a couple pieces of onion in there to give it some more flavor. I like the way that onion smells on those hot coals. All right, I've got the drum up to temperature where we want it to cook today. We're running about 275 degrees. Got that smoke rolling. It's going to put a beautiful bark on the outside, give us some good taste on the inside. It's going to be a natural tasting pork. We're just going to let that fat break down. We're going to go ahead and get it on. Let me get the lid off here. Just get it right on the rack. You just want to transfer it right center rack. And we want to get the lid right back on so we don't lose our heat. These drums react very quick. Okay, the butt's on the pit. All we have to do now is control our temperature and make sure we got steady smoke coming out. On the drum, it's easy. We've got these valves that we can just open and close as much as we want to let air in and out. Doesn't matter what pit you're cooking on, you just gotta control that air, keep a good steady heat, hold it at 275. You wanna keep the lid closed as much as possible, but we are gonna baste after about an hour. We'll be back and show you that just here in a minute. For a simple base, I've got equal parts red wine vinegar and water in a squirt bottle. After the butt's been on about an hour, just give it a good spritz all over. You just want to add some moisture to it and get the lid back on. This needs to happen quick because we don't want to lose temp. All right, it's been about 3.5 hours, so we're going to see what we got here on our pork butt. Now, we've been basting it every hour, and this is what we want. We want it to start getting that dark color. I call it that mahogany look. You can see how the rub's trying to change colors. It's getting a little darker in spot. That's where it's caramelizing. That's what's building that bark. That's what we want. At this point, I want to wrap it. I've got all the color I want on it. I don't want it to burn up. So we're gonna get it wrapped up in some foil. Anytime I'm wrapping butts, I'm using at least 2 or 3 layers of foil. This is gonna hold all that moisture inside, and it's gonna help reduce tears from the butt sitting on the rack. The first thing we wanna do is touch up the top a little bit, touch up that bark with a little extra rub. We're using the same hot rub that we started with. We're also going to add a little bit extra moisture by spritzing it with some more of the red wine vinegar and water based. We also want to put our meat probe in before we wrap that butt to prevent tearing the foil. So just stick it in the thickest part of the butt, right down in the center. Now you want to just start closing the foil up around the probe and around the butt. Take your time, tuck it in tight, and then just close all the layers up until it makes a nice package. Now that butt's ready to go right back on the drum. Just get the lid off quick, center the butt right on the cooking rack, and hang that wired probe right outside the cooker. I'm using my smoke by ThermalWorks today to watch those internal temperatures, and we're looking to get it up close to 200 degrees, so I have my alarm set at 198. It's going to let me know when it's done, and I can kick back and just let the smoker do its job. All right, we've hit 198 internal in this pork butt. We're ready to get it off the pit, get it inside, get it ready to glaze. Now I'm going to get the butt out of the full. Be real careful here because it's extremely hot. We're just going to peel back the full and transfer it over to a wire rack. Today I'm going to glaze this Boston butt with the mixture of some apricot preserves, some honey, some barbecue sauce, and a little bit of cider vinegar just to thin it down. It's going to be sweet and tangy, and once it caramelizes on, it's going to make really good bark. Now the butt's ready to go back on the drum. We're going to need about 15 minutes to set the glaze, so you want to get the lid on fast and don't walk too far away. After 15 minutes, we've got the glaze caramelized, and I'm telling you, it is looking beautiful. This is exactly what we want to see, so it's ready to come off the grill, go inside for a short rest. We got our Boston butt done. I just brought it inside, let it hang out here on the cutting board for 10-15 minutes. Just like any cut of meat, you want to rest before you dive right into it. As you can see, it turned out really, really great looking. I mean, we got that glaze that just caramelized over the top of it when we put it back on the drum out there. Really set that bark. It's got really good color. I know that the hot rub is going to give it some nice spice, some nice bite. That bark's going to be awesome. Before I break into it, let's just talk about what we did on this Boston butt real quick. This is a 10-pound Boston butt we started with today. We took it out of the packaging, rinsed it off, patted it dry, took a light coat of mustard and just slathered over the outside. We didn't want to get real heavy. We did both sides all around the edges, and then we come back and we seasoned it with a spicy hot rub, my Killer Hogs hot rub. Hey, that's the point where you can take this recipe, use whatever seasonings you like. If you've got a favorite rub, go ahead and use it there. I like that hot bite that it's going to give this roast. It's going to be awesome when we get it pulled up for some pulled pork. Now we skipped the injection today because I just wanted to get a natural pork flavor from the fat melting in the meat. It's going to be like authentic pit barbecue. We put it on our drum smoker. You could have cooked it on any kind of cooker you wanted to. Ran it at 275 for about 3.5 hours. We wrapped it up in foil, put our probe thermometer in it. We set it for 198 degrees and we left it alone. It took it about another hour and a half to right at 2 hours to get to that temp. That's when I wanted to glaze it. We put together a real simple glaze, some barbecue sauce, some apricot preserves, a little bit of honey, and some cider vinegar just to thin it down. Heated that up and we glazed it right on top. Got it back out on the pit with a little bit of smoke so we can still get some of that good pit flavor on the outside. Let it glaze for 15 minutes maybe. Now we're ready to eat. Let me show you how easy this butt is to pull apart. First thing I like to do is take this instant read thermometer out. When that bone comes out clean like that, you know you got a Boston butt or a pork butt that's ready to pull. And I'm just gonna go right in here and get my hands in it. Start breaking it apart. Just find the larger muscles and it's gonna shred up and you still got a ton of moisture in this pork butt. It's still hot and smoking even though it's been sitting there for about 20 minutes. You can separate out any fat that's in it that didn't render any tough connective tissue. That's okay, you're gonna have a little bit, but whenever you do a butt like this size, you're still gonna yield, 6-7 pounds of good lean meat that you can serve. Let's get some of these other muscles out, show you how easy they are. You don't have to chop this butt, we're doing pulled pork. That's why we cooked it to almost 200 degrees internal. Get up here in this money muscle, see how good it shreds. Ooh, look at that right there. That don't look good. Tell you what, before I shred that up, that bark, that's the part that I want to try right there. I know it's the best part of that Boston butt. Woo. I'm telling you, that's some fine barbecue right there. Now we're gonna go for a little bit of these tubes, some of that lean meat. Still has some great texture. It's not mushy, that's important when you're doing a butt. You want it to pull apart, but you want it to have some texture. But you want it to also have some great flavor and have that moisture content to it, and that's from that fat breaking down inside it slow. And then you get that rub flavor on the outside that's really giving it, you know, a little saltiness, a little bit of spice. That glaze gave it the little sweet notes to it. And when you get it all pulled together, it just makes for some outstanding barbecue. I'm telling you, your friends will go crazy over this. No matter what your favorite team is, they're gonna enjoy the barbecue, I promise. Hey, thanks for checking out the video today. If you like what we're doing and you want to find out when we're sending out more videos, give us a subscribe. If you got any questions or comments, send them to our Facebook and Twitter. We'll get them answered. Got to get back to pulling this pork, so we'll see you next time.